Should I confront my husband's friend for the truth? Ever since my husband and I got married a month ago, I thought we were in a blissful bubble. The wedding was beautiful, and the reception was filled with laughter, dancing, and love from our friends and family. But during that joyous occasion, something happened that I couldn't shake off. My husband's close friend from college, whom I'd always liked, had a moment that didn't sit right with me. It was during the reception, while I was caught up in a whirlwind of joy and celebration, that I overheard my maid of honor talking to another friend. She mentioned something about my husband's friend snapping at them, saying she has him when she wants him after being teased about losing him. The words struck me like a bolt of lightning, cutting through the festive atmosphere. At first I brushed it aside, wanting to focus on the happiness of the day. But as the honeymoon approached, the comment lingered in the back of my mind. A few days after we returned, I finally mentioned it to my husband. I didn't want to spoil our post-wedding bliss, but I felt I needed to voice my concerns. To my surprise, he dismissed it almost too quickly, assuring me that nothing was going on and that I was reading too much into it. He seemed almost too calm about the whole thing. I trust my husband completely, but something about his reaction didn't sit right with me. When I borrowed his phone one day to make a playlist while he was driving, I noticed something peculiar. There were no iMessage threads with her. I knew they communicated frequently, and it struck me as odd that I couldn't find any trace of their conversations. It was a nagging feeling that started to gnaw at me. Then last night, as I was unwinding, I saw her name pop up in his messages. My heart raced with curiosity, but when I looked again after he went to bed, the messages had vanished. It felt like a scene from a mystery novel. His phone had turned into a locked box, and I was desperate to know what secrets it held. I couldn't shake the feeling that he was deleting their conversations. If I confronted him, I knew he'd deny it outright. But I was desperate for proof, for some peace of mind. The more I thought about it, the more I wrestled with the idea of reaching out to her, pretending to be him. It felt wrong, but the fear of being blindsided was stronger than my moral compass. What if I could uncover the truth? I mulled over how to do it without raising any alarms. That night, after he had fallen asleep, I crept out of bed and grabbed his phone again. With my heart pounding, I drafted a message to her, trying to channel his voice and style. I wrote something innocuous at first, asking how she was doing, but my intent was clear. I wanted to see if she'd let something slip about their relationship. I pressed send and waited, every minute feeling like an eternity. I felt guilty but justified in my actions. After a few moments that felt like hours, my phone buzzed with a response from her. "Hey, good to hear from you. Let's hang out soon, just like old times." I was taken aback. There was no mention of me or the wedding, nothing that acknowledged my presence in his life. My heart raced again, a mixture of excitement and anxiety. I continued the conversation, trying to keep things light while probing for more information. She seemed eager to reconnect, mentioning how much she missed their late-night chats. As I sat there, I felt a rush of adrenaline, but just as I was about to delve deeper, my phone buzzed again. This time it was a message from my husband. "What are you doing up? You should be sleeping." My stomach dropped. I quickly turned off the screen and feigned innocence, hoping he hadn't noticed anything. The next morning I was on edge. I couldn't shake the feeling of impending doom. When my husband got up, I acted normal, but inside I was a whirlwind of emotions. Just as we were having breakfast, my phone buzzed again, and it was her. "So when are we hanging out?" My heart raced as I quickly silenced it, knowing it was an awkward position I had put myself in. My husband glanced at my phone and asked, "Who's texting you?" I froze, my mind racing for a response. Just then, my phone buzzed again, but this time it wasn't a message from her, it was a call from my husband's friend. Panic set in. I realized that the twist I hadn't anticipated was that she had saved my number under his name, and she was trying to call me back. With a shaky hand, I answered, and there was a moment of confusion on both sides. She thought she was speaking to him. I decided to play along, heart racing. "Hey, what's up?" I asked, trying to mimic his tone. She was warm and friendly, but as we talked, I could sense something off. She mentioned our plans without realizing who she was actually speaking to. The longer I stayed in this charade, the more I felt like I was treading dangerous ground. In a moment of vulnerability, she mentioned how she had been feeling distant from him lately, that their friendship had changed since my husband got married. I could hear the hurt in her voice, and it struck a nerve. Maybe there was more to her feelings than I had realized. By the end of the call, I felt conflicted. I had set out to uncover a potential betrayal, but instead I had stumbled upon a deeper issue of friendship that had changed, and a woman who felt neglected. I hung up, shaken by the unexpected twist of emotions. Now I was faced with a choice: do I confront my husband about this, revealing my deception, or do I keep this newfound knowledge to myself and try to navigate the complexities of their friendship with an open mind? I knew I had to decide quickly, as the weight of my actions and the truth loomed heavy in the air, threatening to unravel the life we had built together.